So I'm Lien Verhulst. I studied at Kent University. I was a law school student there. And last year in the fall semester, I went to Washington, D.C. with the Washington Center. And I did an internship there under the Policy and Politics program. My internship was in a company that was produced a program for international trade, and I was on the legal department there, and I had to check all the rules, all the rules considering international law, especially the European trade law. So that was very interesting. And next to the internship, we also had to follow a course, and I took US constitutional law, which was very interesting because it's totally different. The view of law in the US is totally different than in the continental countries like Belgium. So it's very interesting as a law school student to see a totally different view on law. And I think I learned a lot there about the Supreme Court, about constitutional law, but also about the history of the US. And it also made me very interested in US constitutional law and history. And so I still, while I'm back in Belgium, I still keep following the Supreme Court and history of the US and so on. So it was really interesting. I think the best part of following the program of the Washington Center was just living in Washington, D.C. So I am a law school student and I'm very interested in policy, politics, law, and I think there's no better place in the US than living in Washington, D.C. when you're interested in those things, because you have the Supreme Court, you have the Parliament, Congress there. There are a lot of think tanks also centered in Washington, D.C., and they organize a lot of lectures. And you can, if you want, you can go every evening to a lecture, and I tried to go to as many lectures as I could, which was very interesting. And I think this is also something I took with me when I got back, because here I didn't have I didn't do that as much as I did in the US, and now I more have the feeling if something interests me and there's a lecture on it, just go to it and meet people and learn about things that you don't know much about. And so I think that was the best part of being in Washington, D.C.